Hey guys, Kath Langman here. Welcome back to the Scale My Shopify Store podcast. We are well into December now as I sit here recording this. Well into December. We're not quite through our Christmas campaigns just yet. Everyone, you've got to keep it going a little bit longer before postage cutoff dates come around. And then, I know everyone is looking forward to having a little bit of downtime, a little bit of family time, and time out from the business, and to pull together the energy and the ideas and inspiration and motivation to tackle 2024. So I always find myself at this time of the year really working on the vision and the strategies for 2024, not necessarily a super detailed plan per se, the detailed action plan. I think I'm going to be tackling that in the early stages of January. But, I don't want to be finishing up for Christmas with all of the what ifs still rattling around in my brain. I think it'll be very difficult to relax and really spend, good quality time with family and friends if I haven't kind of at least tackled those what ifs before finishing up. So last week, I did an episode that was really about, the real key thing that we all need to be mastering to profit and thrive in 2024. And really off the back of that episode, this week, I want to share with you one of the counterintuitive ways to improve your results from your paid advertising. Every single time that I do an episode that is around getting, better quality volumes of traffic to your website in order to grow your sales, and in particular, really focusing that on paid traffic and how to do it profitably. Anytime I do any kind of an episode around that sort of a topic, it's very, very popular, and I think for good reason. I mean, this past 12 months in particular, I mean, really, and ever since the Apple iOS 14.5 update happened, nearly a couple of years ago now, I think. But really in the last year in particular, paid traffic has become more expensive, and there's so many different reasons why that's happened. Certainly, throughout the COVID e-commerce boom, so many businesses were almost forced to move online, not just e-commerce businesses. A lot of traditional businesses that traditionally would not have ever done business online really needed to do so because of the whole COVID lockdowns and all of that kind of stuff. And then, of course, a lot of people started online businesses, many e-commerce businesses within that. Through that time, a lot of people had the time because they were home, and they wanted to be doing something to be productive and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, all of us were shopping online in ways that we hadn't in the past as well. So it was a real boom time, as we've spoken many times before on the show, like, something like 10 years worth of e-commerce sales growth in 18 months or something like that. So it was a pretty crazy time. And then obviously a year ago, everything really opened up and people were returning to work, not working from home to the same degree, and certainly not having to shop online to the same degree. There's definitely still a level of demand there that is hugely a huge opportunity. However, there's just not the same ease of winning those online sales because of that changing consumer behavior. But throughout this kind of boom time, what's happened, with lots of businesses moving online, is a lot of them were starting to advertise online as well. And so, the number of advertisers taking up the available inventory for ads, and when I'm talking about that, I'm really referring to social media paid ads, because obviously, we don't want to be going on to social media and seeing 100% advertising. That would be a very poor user experience. So there is a finite inventory of ads, and if there are more businesses vying for the available ads, then of course the price is going to go up. So that has definitely happened, you know, so it's been like this change of consumer behavior, as well as, you know, the increase in competition for available ad space that's really driven these prices up. Not to mention, of course, you know, the changes in tracking and things like that, just from a tech perspective, that have also made things a little bit less, you know, there's just less visibility across all of the tracking side of things. So, you know, in some respects, I think that, you know, a lot of us are actually doing better than we believe. It's just that we don't have the same visibility over all of those numbers. However, there are some really cool kind of tricks of the trade that you can employ to be able to improve the profitability of your paid advertising. And this is platform agnostic. It really doesn't matter what platform that you're advertising on, this strategy that I'm going to share with you today. And what I'm going to be talking you through are some methods to actually improve your conversion rate on your website. Because the more that we can improve our conversion rate, any of you who've done one of my traffic strategy boot camps or marketing planning challenges, we're going to do one of those again in January, I hope. But, you know, if you've done that sort of an exercise with me, you'll know how powerful even really small increases in conversion rate on your website can be to your, you know, the revenue that you end up producing. Massively impactful. You know, there's a lot of leverage when it comes to conversion rate optimization. And so I'm going to share some very specific things that you can do to help with this. But I want to set the scene first as to, you know, why we want to do this. So if you have ever run ads before, digital ads, I'm not talking about print or outdoor ads or anything like that. Digital ads, whether it's, you know, social media, Google ads, whatever, you would have no doubt experienced situations where perhaps you launch an ad campaign with a budget you're comfortable to play with, and when you start to see some results come in, and perhaps they're results with, you know, perhaps a return on ad spend that you're happy with, you go to increase the spend and it sends the campaign back into learning, and then that return on ad spend drops significantly. Or a different way of looking at it would be the cost per acquisition or the cost per conversion increases remarkably. And you sort of think, well, why did that happen? I mean, that ad was working really, really well. All I did was edit the budget. Why has it suddenly you know, I'm getting the same purchases, but it's costing me a whole lot more? That shouldn't happen, right? That, you know, it's illogical. Another scenario that I know a lot of people go through all the time is, you know, you launch an ad campaign and they don't always all work great, right? And so couple of temptations here. Number one being that, you know, when you first launch a campaign, it's really, really hard to sit on it and not edit it and change it. Like, to be patient for a few days and really let the algorithm do that optimization process. It's very, very hard to be patient, particularly if you don't immediately see some really great results, right? But then also there are just times when ads are not generating the results that you want. Sometimes it's, you know, shortly after launch. Sometimes they might have been running for some time and, you know, the results change for whatever reason, right? And so obviously, you know, the temptation is to get in there and edit things. The problem is, anytime you edit an ad campaign, it sends the campaign back into learning. And anytime that campaign is in learning, it means that it's not optimized. And what it's looking for is a certain number of conversions per week for that campaign or for that ad set. And, you know, so for example, if you're doing a purchase conversion campaign, it's going to be looking for 50 conversions in that week. And, you know, if you have a campaign in learning, it's not seeing that number of events. So it's not got enough data to be able to optimize. And so, you know, the more we edit it to, you know, as with the goal of improving that result, the worse we're kind of making it, right? Like, you know, we're just keeping it in learning for longer. So hence why I say counterintuitive way to improve your ad. So if you think about it, if you have an ad and it's perhaps getting some decent click-throughs and you're getting traffic onto your web page, website, whichever landing page you're sending it to, rather than editing your ad all the time, how can you improve the actual page that you're sending it to? When you think about it, the goal of the ad is actually to get the right people onto your website. It's actually then your website's job to convert those visitors into buyers. And so, trying to find ways to actually improve the website can be hugely impactful. And I'll give you an example. So a couple of months ago, we were running a promotional campaign for a client. It was, from memory, I think it was like a month-long promo. It might have even been 6 weeks. I can't exactly remember. Anything from before Black Friday is kind of a bit foggy in my brain right now. And so we initially went out with a bit of a testing sort of campaign, really trying to quickly get a handle on what actual ad creators were going to get the best results. But once we had those insights and we knew what were the winning ad campaigns, we really wanted to scale it. And so that's what we were doing. And once we were at that stage of the campaign, we don't just stop there, right? Like, we don't want to just assume that that's the best result that we can get. And so we started looking at the actual landing page that the traffic was going to. And so, we weren't changing the URL of that page at all, but we were really working to optimize that page better for conversions from, the right audience, the ideal customer. So the people we knew who were most likely to buy this particular product. We really wanted to make that page as intuitive and as appealing and as easy as possible to purchase from, right? And we were able to improve the actual conversion rate on that page for that promotion by, it was like ridiculous amount, like 400%. And, when you think about the fact that you're not actually sending more traffic to that page, but you're actually getting 4 times the results, pretty amazing, right? And so what happens then is that you are actually getting the right number of conversion events that the campaign is looking for to exit the learning phase and to start to really optimize. And so what you end up seeing is this fairly rapid improvement in both the number of conversions that you get from your ad campaign, and also, like if it's a purchase conversion, you're looking for revenue and return on ad spend, you're seeing a much better dollar value of revenue, but also the actual profit margins are better because the return on ad spend is so vastly improved. So, really taking the time to work on improving your conversion rate is just so valuable. Now, I'm going to run through a few things that you can consider to optimize your website. Some of them are going to be relevant for the whole website, and some of them will be relevant for particular pages or functions, whether that's your product page or your checkout or whatever. And what I want to just caution you about here is, I know that there's a temptation to do it all at once, make all of the changes all at once, and that could potentially cause more harm than good. So you really just need to step it out, not make all the changes at once. You need to let a little bit of traffic run through a website after you've changed a few major things. By major, what you want to be doing is testing screams, not whispers. So you really want to change one obvious thing at a time and then gather a bit more data to see if that actually improved things or not. Because if you changed 10 things all at once, some of them might have helped and some of them might have hindered, but you wouldn't have any idea which one did which. So don't do it all at once is my counsel here. So let's run through a few ideas for you, and hopefully after listening to this episode, you'll be able to have a fairly constructive, objective look at your own website and try and identify the options that you are most obvious or most relevant to your particular situation. And so the first thing that I actually want to share here is that studies have shown over the recent years that the number one most influential factor for your conversion rate, it's not actually things like the page load speed or mobile responsiveness, or all the other sort of things that we all actually do still need to have on our website. Those sorts of things are not actually the most influential factor. The most influential factor is actually clarity. And so what that means is, like, is it immediately obvious to your customer when they land on your website what you sell, who it's for, and how do I get it? A lot of the time, clarity, something to being clearly communicated, comes down to your visual design. It also comes down to a few other things as well. So we're going to go through them here and now. But when you think about how clear your website is for the right customers, you want to be thinking about things like, for example, your images. Do they really immediately and clearly showcase not just your products, and who might be using them or buying them, but also, do they position your brand where you want it to and where is appropriate for your brand? And by that, you really need to be thinking about how your customers are perceiving you in the marketplace against all of your competitors. And is that kind of spot on? Because if it's a little bit wishy-washy or unclear, it's going to make it very, very difficult for the customers to make a judgment between you and your competitors. So, and at the end of the day, images do communicate so much faster than words or any other medium. So we really need to make sure that we are being mindful when we are shooting photographs, choosing photographs or video, and how we are using those in our design, and just the visual design techniques and strategies that we're using for the website, so that it is super, super clear. Also, when it comes to the images, there are a few different images that you actually need to use in different parts of your website to help with this clarity, right? So I'm going to share a few with you. You definitely need to have your styled shots. So whether it's, a styled group shot of products or a lifestyle shoot, photo shoot, or, a styled single product image, it's going to depend very much on what you sell, of course. But that is the kind of image that you're going to be using on the homepage and, for those hero images. And then, separate to that, you're really going to want to have clear product shots on a white background that you're going to be using on the product page. Now, on a product page, the first image that you show is likely to still be a styled product shot, right? Or a lifestyle shot. Again, depends what you sell. Obviously, if you're selling skincare versus clothing, then you may or may not have humans in there, and have a like, when I say styled, imagine like a magazine spread that's got the image is styled to look like an aspirational version of the life that your ideal customers live, right? But then you definitely need to have those really clear product shots on a white background. When people are buying online, we don't have the luxury of touching and feeling and looking at a product up close. We need to be able to try and see the product as much detail and clarity as possible, so that we can hopefully choose the right thing, right? Then also, alongside that, having product detail shots. Again, this depends on what you are selling, but for example, I was recently buying some clothes online, a couple of gifts, and I really wanted to see the detail of certain details of the fabric and the style, how it was, stitched and sewn together, and how it was fitting on the body and all of that kind of stuff, and really trying to make a judgment about whether those items would fit the people that I was buying them for. In this case, hopefully my sister's not listening, something for my sister and something for my daughter, who I know definitely won't be listening, so that's okay. So detailed shots. And then also shots in packaging. So again, this varies as to what you sell, but for example, if you are a gift hamper, you really want to be showcasing the hamper, the beautiful hamper presentation, the box and, opened and how beautifully it's displayed inside. There could be other products as well, just standalone products where, you really want to be able to see it in packaging. So for example, if you're a skincare brand, for example, then you would want to show the products in their packaging as well as the actual, product inside, makeup being another example there. So showing it in packaging, and that's, not everyone's going to be shipping e-commerce orders with the product in packaging, but many of you will be. And so, you want the customers to actually have that resonance when they open the order and they see what they saw online. And then in situ, so kind of alongside those styled product shots is those lifestyle images, like I was explaining, where, you're really showing the products in use and I always like to showcase it in a slightly aspirational kind of version of your customer's reality. So maybe not their actual reality, because that's probably, they're not, oftentimes we're trying to buy something to improve our existing reality, if that makes sense. So yeah, in situ and humanizing things, or, if it's not a human product, maybe a pet product, but actually putting the body and the face and it gives it a little bit more, makes it more tangible, but it also brings the emotion to it as well. And I think that we have that kind of emotional connection when we see faces and people or pets, if it's a pet product, that sort of thing. So all of those things are really going to help you to improve the clarity of your website, which in turn will improve the conversion rate of your website. Another way to think about this too is not just images, it's also video. Certainly something that we included on this landing page that I was explaining about before was a video. And it was a UGC video. So it was, user-generated content. So it was the person in the video, they were very resonant with the ideal customer. It was like the ideal customer was sort of seeing almost themselves using the product and hearing, why they love it so much and how to use it and the impact that those products had, all of that kind of good stuff, which as opposed to the business owner actually demonstrating products, which is also useful, but in a different way, right? So, definitely think about video as another way to improve the clarity of your website. There are other ways to improve the clarity, and this is less about that immediate reaction of what do you sell and who is it for, but certainly helps with how do you get it. And that is having really user-friendly and intuitive navigation. And the menu navigation is so huge, particularly when you think that these days, like most of us, like 70-80% are shopping on our mobile, and it's such a tiny screen. So to make, to be able to make things very easy to find is a skill, and it's often something that we don't get right first off or even second off. It is often something that we might add, approach in layers. So, you might have an initial change to the top level navigation. Then you might decide to add, some extra filters. I love the filters on the birdsnest.com.au website, super intuitive and helpful. And it really helps. I mean, they've got a massive range now, but it really, really helps to get you, be able to navigate to what you want and find the right items that are actually going to suit your preferences and needs in the moment. So intuitive navigation is going to really help as well. Separate to that though, you really want to think about, the user experience as a whole. So, all of those images and things like that, that's going to really help on the product page itself. The menu navigation, that's obviously going to help every part of that shopping experience. But other ways to really improve that user experience, or UX as people like to think about it, is, things like having easy access to customer service. And you have to think here about that balance between what is going to be prompt and helpful, what is going to be, help with trust as well, versus what you can actually manage. So for example, if you're one person running a business, maybe don't put live chat on, at least not all the time, because, you probably burn out pretty fast if you feel like you have to respond to live chat questions 24/7. I'm always a big advocate for having a phone number on a website. And I know, I remember when I first started my first business, I was pretty resistant to doing that. I was a mum of 2 little children, and so was my business partner at the time. And, we didn't want to be answering the phone 24/7 and all of that kind of stuff. However, when we did actually add the phone number on to the website and made ourselves available for that kind of support, it just helped things enormously. And I think it's as much about, trustworthiness as it is about anything else, because, sometimes it's really difficult as a consumer to distinguish between a website that is legit and one that is, a scam site or a whatever, and so having a phone number where people can call you and get some help is helpful. Probably people won't that much, they're much more likely to go for other means like live chat or FAQ contact us form, or probably, social media, either commenting or DMing, that sort of thing. So, all of those ways of being able to be in touch can help, definitely. Other user experience things that can really help with conversion rates is, for example, your checkout process. I remember a year ago, maybe it was even the start of this year. It's a little hard to remember now, but that must have been the end of last year. Beautiful client Amanda from Bell Art, who's been on the show before, came to us to help her really improve her e-commerce sales. She had a website, but she really wasn't doing much in terms of business on there. She was had been a wholesale business for a long time. And the first thing that I did when I was looking at, her platforms and her marketing and working out how we could help her and what was possible and all of that kind of stuff, I was looking at her website, and there was literally something like 12 steps to be able to get from the homepage through the checkout. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to stick around for that. That's just too hard. And so, really being able to make that checkout experience really smooth, but also short, is important. Otherwise, you will 100%, every time there's an extra step for customers, they're going to drop off. That's an opportunity to drop off, right? So really making it short but still have the right information and whatnot in it. Another thing, obviously, at the checkout as well, is having the right payment methods so that your customers can pay using the method that they want, rather than forcing them to pick one thing. I've got a note here about, oh my goodness, I'd forgotten a couple of stories. I remember a couple of years ago, we had a client go through our group program who, I think from memory, was selling headphones, and sort of similar to Bell Art, they were pivoting from an in-store experience to an e-commerce retail experience. So not wholesale, but brick and mortar retail. And they built this website. I don't even remember what platform it was on. It wasn't Shopify at the time. They built this website, and you literally could not transact on it. You literally could not transact on it. I'm like, how do I shop here? And so they explained to me, oh, you contact the store and we take your payment over the phone. It's like, this is 2021. We don't do that. We pay online. And so, of course, they weren't able to compete. They had this amazing, innovative product, but they weren't selling it online. There was no way they were going to get themselves out of that brick and mortar experience. And, with that website that they had, fortunately, they recognized that was the reality, and they ended up shifting to Shopify and did a good job with that. But another website I remember, I don't even think this store ended up working with us. It was a Shopify website. This is several years ago now, maybe 2019. and beautiful products again, not selling online. And the most immediate thing that jumped out to me was, like, I was looking on their website, I'm like, where's the shop menu? There was nothing in the menu navigation to take me into their store, and I had to scroll more than halfway down the home page to find an image with a button on it to take me into the store. It was the only way to get into their store. And so when you think about these sorts of stories, right, this kind of a user experience, it is really, really important that we work hard from a design perspective and just from an intuitive navigation perspective, that we are making things as intuitive and easy and enjoyable as possible. Don't put roadblocks in front of your customers. Don't make customers have to expend too many brain calories to figure this out, because they're not going to. They're going to jump off and go somewhere where it's easier. So at the end of the day, if you are spending money on ads to drive traffic to your website, you need to make sure that you aren't wasting that money by making it really, really difficult for customers to buy from you. And just knowing that this is going to be probably a bit of a process of improvement over time, as it should be. Couple of other things to think about. So when you are sending traffic to your website, a lot of the time you are trying to acquire new customers. Some of the time we're using ads to help with increasing repeat customers, but a lot of the time you're spending that money to get new people to your website. And we know that, on average, 2 to 3% of visitors are going to convert into buyers at any one time. So we want to really speed up that process from first visiting your website to purchase. And one of the ways to do that is to be able to immediately establish some trust with your new visitors. The hardest purchase for any business to get is the first one. And it's the hardest one for us to make as consumers as well. Like, we'll jump through a few hoops to figure out if we want to go ahead with a purchase with a new website. For me, I'm always looking at certain elements. I'm looking at, I always go to the About Us page. I don't want to see a generic About Us page that doesn't mention the people in the business. I'm looking at things like shipping and returns policies. So if you don't have those in place, or you make it really hard to find because you've got one policy page and everything is together on one page, that's not a great experience. I'm looking for that phone number, like I said, but I'm also looking for things like, is there a security certificate in place? Is it going to be the transaction going to be a secure transaction? Is there common payment methods? I think I've told a story in years past where I went to shop online. I was looking for a product that was hard to get, and the only place that I could find it in stock was only taking payment in Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, really? But, the other thing here as well that can help is a few things. Having a guarantee of some kind, super, super helpful at establishing trust and helping to improve conversion rates. There's always ways to do it. I know that it can be a little bit nerve-wracking to have a money-back guarantee, but just try and work hard at finding ways that you can offer a guarantee, knowing that you will improve your conversion rate enough to cover the odd return here and there. Obviously, if you're going to offer a guarantee, you actually have to have good products or good services that do what they say on the tin, as I like to say. Other ways that you can help establish trust, though, you can have the other methods of credibility on there. So, for example, it could be awards, it could be some independent kind of media mentions, maybe not even independent, but, it could be as seen in the Sydney Morning Herald, or as seen in such and such, respected trade publication, or as seen on, a celebrity or a TV show, or whatever is going to be the right kind of relevant thing for your product and for your brand positioning and your customers and that sort of thing. So that as seen in stuff, obviously, social proof, particularly if you have social proof with images, any images before and after is even better. social proof that's independently verified again. So you want to be using, review collection apps, whether you're using the Klaviyo reviews or you're using Stamped or Judge Me or something like that, so that it's the customer posting and not the business posting about them, sharing a review about themselves. So that kind of stuff helps with trust as well, and will most definitely help with conversion rate. And then, just kind of as an overall, you might need to kind of go with your gut on this a little bit, but how do you resonate well with your audience when they arrive on your landing page? There can often be a real disconnect between the ad content that they've just clicked on and the page that they land on. We're working with a client at the moment who, historically she had some fantastic ads, really great ads. But she was sending them to a really generic landing page, like a collection page. Yes, it was going to a bestsellers page, but literally it was just a grid of products. There was nothing that was really resonant in the content from the ad to that landing page, and that kind of a jarring experience. And again, a landing page that essentially is expecting customers to expend way too many brain calories to figure this out, right? It's like you're landing on a page. If you're landing on a page and you're just like, I don't know if that's for me. I don't know what's for me here. I don't even know how to figure that out. It's too hard. I'm going to bounce off. So having that immediate sort of resonance and congruence when people land on your landing page. By landing page, it's just the page they land on, right? It could be the home page, it could be a collection page, it could be, a tricked up blog post, it could be the product page itself, whatever is the right thing for your particular ad campaign. Other ways that you're going to help people to make a purchase decision are things like bundles or, bundles, gift packs, value packs, those sorts of things. This can really, again, help with the purchase decision. Obviously, it's going to help with your average order value as well. But the point here is you're trying to make things as simple as possible for a customer to make a purchase decision. So there might be like a trial pack or a starter pack, or, again, like thinking through exactly what you're selling and what's going to make sense. If you're clothing, having an outfit, right? Like there's multiple different ways that you can present this. Bundles, can definitely help with conversion rate, and as can, having a specific bundle or offer, like it could be, 2 products and a gift or something like that on a standalone landing page that you're sending that cold traffic to. You'd have to have a lot of the, conversion type content and elements on this page, not just a typical out of the box kind of Shopify product page. But, that can, if it's a really fantastic first offer and that you're, giving them products that they're going to love and it's going to really entice them back, fantastic idea. And that'll definitely help you get improved results from your ads. Not to forget other methods of being able to increase conversion rate after you get the traffic to your website. For example, building your email list using email and SMS to increase the conversions from your first visitors. So that means, really nailing things like your new subscriber welcome flow, your browse abandon and cart abandon. Those flows, they are all designed to help convert new customers, and that will help improve your conversion rate as well. So just to kind of finish up on, I just want to share a real quick story about a client that we're working with at the moment. Now, many of you listeners would know that my first business that I started was a modern cloth nappy brand, modern diapers if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And that is a kind of product that, at the time that I had that business, it was hard-ish to sell because it was so different to the disposables and single-use products. And so, there was that education phase. But, once you get past that, it's the kind of product where people need to buy multiples of them. So typically, a couple of dozen. And a lot of brands would have different patterns and designs and colors, and then there would be accessories that you would need to use with them as well, and to have success and all of this kind of stuff, right? And so definitely bundles and bulk packs became a really big part of the sales process, but as did, by necessity, the educational type content. There were some very severe perceived risks for a lot of customers to make the decision that they could use these products and be successful with them. There was the ick factor. It was like, are they going to leak? Is it going to be hard to wash and dry them? Is it just going to be a time-consuming pain in the ass? Or is it going to be easy? Am I going to be successful with it? What's going to be best for my baby? Am I really going to save money? Or, like, there's so many different things, right? And so that education side of things, of the marketing content, as well as, but making it really easy for customers to choose the number that they wanted, and the colors and the patterns and the accessories that they were going to choose, all of that kind of stuff had to be part of it. And so recently we started working with a beautiful client. I've known her for a long time. She used to be one of my competitors back in the day. Obviously, I haven't had that business for several years now, so definitely no conflict of interest there. And it's a very established brand actually, but she anyway, yeah, she wants to, obviously everyone comes to us because they want to get more traffic and sales, right? That's usually the thing. And she doesn't have this kind of functionality for the bundles and, that kind of easy user experience, as well as the clarity of that educational content. And this often actually happens when somebody's been in business for a long time. You kind of repeat the same stuff over and over again that you think everybody knows. And so you think, oh, I don't need to keep that on there anymore. That everybody knows that, so it's redundant, but that's not the truth at the end of the day. And so rather than just launching straight into driving paid traffic to this website, we're actually updating this first. So we're updating the website first, and we're adding that kind of content and functionality and improving that user experience first, because I know from experience just how impactful improving your conversion rate is to the results that you get from your paid traffic. So there you go. That's what I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed that, my counterintuitive method of improving your paid ad results. I'll be curious to hear from some of you guys as to what you feel like you need to implement, and in what order that you might implement things, and what changes that you're going to make to help you to sell more. And obviously, if you do want to have some help to figure that out, or to actually implement it, give us a shout. You are very welcome, and I invite you to book in for a free e-commerce strategy session. We will be looking at your website, we will look at your ads, we will look at your emails. There's no charge for that. We look at all of that to see what is actually going on and where the opportunities are to improve, and what are the best strategies to help you get from where you are now to achieve the revenue and growth goals that you are looking for. Now's a great time to do it. We're heading to the end of the year. To be able to, get that kind of strategizing done now before the start of 2024, it's a great time to do. So if you want to do that, just head to productpreneurmarketing.com/let's-talk. I will, of course, include that link on the podcast show notes page as well. But that's it for today. Really hope you've enjoyed that episode, and I look forward to being with you again on the show next week. Bye for now.